Hello, everyone. We are back. Well, almost all of us are back. Sam is out walking the dog, and we're back in a few minutes. So until then, we've got to fill time. If anyone's got any comments or questions, sling them into the chat, and we'll bring them up on screen and address them. And also, in the meantime, I would like to thank Sam Rosan for following us and indeed watching us right now. Hello. You are most welcome. So, in lieu of any kind of questions being asked, how about I ask some questions of my own about what we think about MÖRK BORG, but more importantly than what we think about MÖRK BORG. God damn it! I nearly got the whole way through this trying to pronounce it properly.
Yeah,
but, or at least
how do you pronounce it?
So it should be MÖRK BORG, I think.
Well, I've seen the a thread in which the makers of it said, oh yeah, sort of pronounce however you like, because I think officially there's also it's supposed to be like a soft G at the end of
Borg, I read that as well, like it's Borg
or something.
It's not like a J, but it's like a soft hard G, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Rather than Borg, it's Borg. Like a very soft thing. But I ain't Swedish. You may have noticed.
MÖRK BORG.
Blah, blah. Here's a question actually before we get onto our own. Do you guys have a regular MÖRK BORG game going? No. Is it every Saturday? No, we don't, I'm afraid. We have 3 regular series that we do on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 8 o'clock GMT/BST. But they are not MÖRK BORG. This is one of our monthly Saturday one-shots that we do on the first Saturday of every month. This may come back, though, in another way if it goes down well and if people want to see it. But at the moment, our weekly series are Call of Cthulhu, Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition, and Symbaroum. And this is part of our monthly one-shots. Well, you're very welcome. With a name like that, you should watch our Call of Cthulhu series. A question from me to the group. The most important question: grossest moment so far.
I mean, I quite liked either the hand, the hand coming out of the burst belly of one of the ghouls that we were just fighting. That was pretty gross. But I also liked the fact when I was eating the maggots out of a corpse. I felt like that was
that was pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Quite gross.
Steve, for yours, I don't know. I think there's an earthquake at Sam's. Either that or the dog is jumping around. Steve, can I guess yours? Because I think I saw it happen on your face. Sure. The bit where the ghoul reached into its belly and ate a bit of flesh out from that was dripping out from it. I saw you go. Matt, please.
Actually,
I did like the body room as well. Just like the weird, just ordered.
Yeah.
I think the one I rolled up on the dungeon generator just said there were just bodies scattered everywhere, and I was like, we can make it weirder and
bodies neatly organized everywhere.
Yeah, that's scarier, right? Because that's purpose is there, and that's
what were they doing in this room?
And when I was writing the thing about there's limbs together, and I was like, that's pretty horrible. And then I was like, what's a weird small thing to be found in a pile? Definitely tongues.
Just tongues.
Definitely tongues.
Oh, the clot skellies. That was. I really liked that.
I was particularly proud of the kind of lump of semi. Sort of coagulated blood just coming out from its in my head, the blood is it just constantly is somehow generated inside the skull, and then
it's because it sort of answers a bit of the question of how these skeletons are because normally with skeletons you do have a bit of a problem of what's keeping them together, what's moving them. And in this I was definitely imagining that the blood had was the thing that was
the thing.
Yeah,
and you could if you were getting into the ecology of it, if you were being a bit more D&D about it, you could go, the blood is actually alive. Like the blood is the creature puppeting the thing, but that's less scary. Like once that's established, it's just like, oh, it's a skeleton and there's fucking half coagulated blood constantly pumping out of its eye sockets. That's just fuck no.
I also don't know if
don't do that.
We probably won't find out, but like I like the idea that they were like repeating things that they'd heard or something like that, and that's why, you know, so the people who discovered those
that's exactly what they do. They mimic, like they mimic what they've heard. So like the thing you heard were their last
there's some skeletons coming. That's dangerous.
I like that. I like that shit as well. John, anything from you?
I quite liked, I don't know if that's the right term necessarily, but the bit where I like cut one of the ghouls and it just like toppled over Torval and presumably emptied some amount of viscera.
And that's like I think I described it in a way that I didn't intend, or it was like interpreted in a way I didn't necessarily intend. I didn't interpret it to like knock you over and fall on top of you. I was just like it just slumps against you, and as it slumps, the pressure causes things to like slop out over you. That's good stuff. Also now Attempted says they do watch our Call of Cthulhu series and it's great. Look, I'm not making the praise up, it's there.
Agreed, it is great.
Good. Glad people enjoy it. Glad people enjoy the one on the channel I don't run.
I mean, they also enjoy the other ones, the ones you do run, obviously.
Numbers don't lie, John. What are we thinking of MÖRK BORG? What are we thinking of it in general?
Yeah, I like it. I like the sort of brutal aesthetic.
I think I like it. Sorry, go on.
No.
I was going to say, I'm not quite sure how a campaign of it would go. I'm not entirely sure why, but something about it feels very short-lived. Not least because there is an apocalypse table in the book.
Yes. Which we didn't really get a chance to play with, although I did roll a... are they called miseries?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I rolled a misery that happened before this started, which I've dropped little hints of, and there will be other hints to come.
Yes. I'm liking it. I'm surprised that this is jinxing things. I'm surprised no one's died yet.
The combat has been incredibly less brutal than I thought it was, to the point I'm now mildly embarrassed that I insist Sam fight, otherwise it would be a total party wipe.
It's all right. I would have commanded him to come back and fight, I think, if it I'm genuinely really surprised, and next time I run this I will be ramping it up significantly.
Like Von, to be honest, getting shanked once, and like if he had got
nearly
shanked
dying
twice, he would have died.
Well, you just roll on a D4 table when you get downed, and if you roll a 4, you're just fucking dead.
Yeah. It's worth knowing, I've technically taken a lethal amount of damage over this campaign.
Yeah, sure.
That I had a chance to.
But people have other things they haven't used. Like Torval secretly has a couple of fucking health potions tucked away on this person.
Does he? Does he?
What?
Sneaky.
I don't know if he does, really.
Yeah. So
I mean, he hasn't trust anything Torval gave me to drink. So
he's taken a very small amount of damage himself, so he's not really had occasion to check his pockets to see if he would have such things.
Yeah.
I've got to say, in terms of the sort of the character archetype of fanged deserter, I didn't. Yeah, Torval is not the fanged deserter I imagined.
Well, enticingly, he rolled the character trait of cowardly, I think.
Marvelous.
Or something like that. So, is he cowardly? I can't remember.
I mean, I've definitely been playing him cowardly. He's cruel and lazy.
Cruel and lazy. That's it. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've been upping the cruelty. You know, I've been reveling in you guys' suffering. It's been enjoyable.
Yeah.
And
that bit with the fire trap was.
Yeah. That was enjoyable. I have been enjoying the dynamic and like you say, like the grimness and the bleakness. I think a campaign would be possible. I think you'd have to veer away from just it being a relentless dungeon bash. I think that would get boring after a while. But I always think that of things. I'm not a huge fan of dungeon bashers.
You can imagine like a survival scenario being quite interesting.
But I think also, like, even just being in a city and stuff, I think you could have some interesting stories in there, like grim, nasty little things, you know, like just upping the darkness and the ante of it, and like making it so like it's a world that functions to a certain degree. And I think that could definitely be done. Mechanically, it's fine. It's almost bog standard role playing, basic. You know, you roll against a number with modifiers. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sometimes like towards in the Lich fight, I was definitely feeling like, you know, my actions are fairly standard. You know, I should probably try and shoot it with my crossbow because that's like the thing I'm good at and the thing that is all right.
Yeah.
And there weren't too many opportunities to like vary it up.
It suffers from that again. The and I'm not bagging on D. I often do bag on D&D, but it suffers from that basic D&D character syndrome of like, well, I attack with my main weapon. That's what I do.
Yeah, and like there are certain like as soon as there's an optimal thing to do, you have to sort of think about why you're doing something that's not like as good. And sometimes it can be kind of fun to do something that's off.
And then you try and do it, and your GM tells you off and makes you stop.
Well, no, for example, I threw that Warhammer. Which was not as good as firing a crossbow.
No, but it was fun and characterful and good. And I do like that you guys have been doing good character work in this as well. And I do like it. I think my favorite thing any of you've done in the entire thing was the altercation between Von and Torval. I found that really entertaining. Like just like Von thing, and then this like nasty fanged deserter guy's just like you know, like naturally just like, you know, submitting to his betters. Like I enjoyed that a lot. Hello, Sam. Right, welcome back. So cool, right? We'll crack on. We've got 50 minutes to get this done on time. Let's do it, folks. Let's do it. So this Lich has blinked out of existence. The ghouls are nowhere to be seen. Maybe they crawled out of that crack in the ceiling. So now you are once again in this room. This large chamber you were in, half of it is cave-like with a crack in the ceiling with a shaft of light shining down. The other half, and some scattered pine trees, sickly-looking ones. The other half of the room, more like a carved chamber, an enormous crystalline skull entirely across the right-hand side of that wall. What are we doing?
I'm going to walk up to the crystalline skull and see if I can, I don't know, use a bit of stone and my warhammer to like chisel out at one of its eyes. That looks valuable.
Oh, it's way too. I mean, it has no eyes for a start, and secondly, it's way too big to reach the eyes.
Oh,
this is a very large chamber, you know. Like it's
kind of high up.
Yeah, the skull is about 3 stories high.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was imagining. Yeah, okay. All right. Shit. Can't get to those valuable looking crystal skull.
As you do, is everyone in general approaching it?
Yeah, I'd be going over to.
Sure.
Seems to be the most significant thing in the room, so yeah.
As you come over, you hear, like as you did before, you can hear whispers coming from the darkness in those empty eye sockets. And as you get closer, you see that it gives the entire skull is giving off a kind of soft drift of misty fog, and a sort of as you get closer, it becomes almost. Kind of, you can feel a level of coldness radiating off it. You also see that it has gentle cracks and misting all over it. Let's say that one of you, and let's just give a roll on this. Von, as you were being dragged out of the cells early this morning, you noticed. Do you remember that the guard who was rambling in the cart about how the glass in all the windows of the town had turned kind of misty and frozen overnight? Mm-hmm. It looks like that did. Perhaps too. Yesterday, this skull was glass, but now it's some kind of freezing quartz. The other notable thing about it is that at the base of the jaw is what appears to be an opening for a key.
The skull itself is quite high up, so is the jaw like lower down we could reach?
No, it's not high up. It's 3 stories tall.
That's how.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So the jaw is where we would.
Yeah, it's at your feet. Yeah. Well, your knees, really.
Hmm.
So I will go take a closer look at the jaw, I think.
Okay.
Is it possible for me to feed a life elixir to Burke?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, while everyone else is looking at the giant skull and not looking at me, I feed my dog a life elixir.
Sure. That's fine.
1 dose. Heals 1d6.
Have you ever tried to give pets medicine?
Oh, it heals them 4.
I imagine most of it just goes over him,
Yep.
like dripping down his jowls.
Poltroon kind of has edged close to the skull as well and is examining it closely, and sort of kind of touches it gently with one finger and goes and reels back. You can see kind of like a what they call freezer burn, like
Yeah,
like a
like
burn on like the end of his finger, which he kind of sucks and goes.
Meanwhile, Torval's behind us, like swallow.
Blowing his nose. Blowing his nose.
Harmug, you go up and look closer at the jaw. I mean, it's a keyhole in the jaw.
Okay, so
Chunky one, like but
so it looks like a normal
key.
keyhole. We're looking for a normal key. It's chunky.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm just going to turn around and go. We need a key.
All right, that's good enough for me. Let's go and get some keys.
Anyone have a key?
Pat my pockets.
I don't have a key.
None of you have secretly
elixir or anything.
None of you have secretly off stream discovered a key.
That's very specific, Torval.
I don't know what you're talking about. Let's go to the other room.
So I'm assuming we've all played RPGs before, dungeon bashy ones. I assume we're going to the one place we have not explored yet.
Yep. Assuming there's nothing else to find in here, yeah, we'll wander back up.
You can take a look around, but in the interests of time, you don't find anything else out in this entire chamber, and you trudge back through the dungeon, past the high vaulted corridor with the whispers, past the prison with its piles of human remains, past the sarcophagal room with the burns over it, past where the blood-drenched skeletons are littered across the floor, and you're back in that very first corridor you found yourself in after coming down the stairs, and there's a door ahead of you, a stone door that is yet to be opened.
Stone door, cool.
Who's opening it?
Torval.
All right. And I open the stone door.
I love how you got Torval wits now.
It opens to a familiar sight. A relatively large room with a lot of sarcophagi scattered haphazardly around. Moved from their low plinths, all the effigies on them have grotesquely joyous expressions carved on them and have been smashed open at some point in various places. The difference between this room and the other than the expressions on the effigies, is that there is an exquisitely dressed corpse sprawled backwards over a near central sarcophagus. There is also another stone doorway on your right-hand side, which is kind of closed to, but there's sort of a gentle, soft light shining around the edges of it.
I think it's another trapped room.
Nothing happens.
Okay, I was wrong.
Good.
And I go into the room gingerly.
I'm going to let Torval walk in as far as he goes before I make any move, and then go and examine the exquisitely dressed corpse.
Okay. Tell me how you examine it. Like, are you rifling through it, or are you just kind of inspecting it at a distance, or what?
I'm first going to inspect it to see what size its clothes are.
Give me a D6 roll and tell me if it's 4, 5, or 6.
It's a 6.
You know, they look just right, and they're still they're a little bit decayed. Obviously, everything is in this world, but they're quite nice. There's ruffles.
Yeah, most of my ruffles have gone by now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to drag the corpse off of its resting place and start trying to undress it.
Okay. The corpse is quite light. It's desiccated and crumbling, and as you drag it off and it slams onto the ground, its clothes give off a great spray of dust in the air, and it takes you a few seconds to realize that a lot of it isn't dust. A lot of it are small little moths with an odd green tinge to their wings. They flutter up into the air and then burst out into a great cloud of moths that seem quite keen on enveloping you in some way.
Torval!
Fucking butterflies!
While Von was doing this, because I just want to get a sense of where everyone is in the room and who's near Von. Riston, Torval is, yeah. Riston and Harmug, what were you guys doing?
I would have probably at the entrance, looking very carefully at the ceiling. So after last
time, yeah. How about Harmug?
I think Harmug is just kind of poking around the sarcophagus, maybe the nearest one to the entrance.
Taking a look down there again. You're finding similar things, by the way. Splintered bones, little bits of rag, nothing. Exactly the same things as you found in the other room. Mm-hmm. In that case, Von and Torval, please. Mm-hmm. Can you give me an agility roll? Agility 16, please.
Ooh.
With whatever modifiers you have. Remember, you no longer have the fungal bonus.
Oh, yeah. I got 14, so that's a fail.
Mm-hmm.
I got 13, so that's a fail.
Okay, in that case, can you both give me a toughness roll against 6, please? Don't forget your bonuses.
I rolled a natural 20.
Nice.
Oh my god, I rolled a 3.
And you don't have toughness bonus to lift that up or anything, right?
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's deal with Torval first. Torval, the moths kind of flutter and flap around you. You can feel like them trying to bite into you at various points, exposed points, your necks, your hands, and you kind of, in explanation, as you do so, a few of them flutter into your mouth. You involuntarily close. That's good. Your inveterate bug-eater trait has won out once again. Von, slightly different story. Can you roll on the broken table, please?
What am I rolling for that?
A D4.
D4. Oh, that, yes. Yes, I see.
Oh, dear.
3.
Well, lucky you didn't roll 4, huh? And just die instantly. So you feel them biting all over you as well, and immediately you start to feel a hot flush and a dizziness, and you kind of like lose your footing, and everything kind of winks out. For everyone else, Von has tipped forward, cracked his head on the side of the sarcophagus, and is now lying on the floor, breathing very shallowly.
What's Poltroon doing?
Poltroon leaps forward, grabs Von and is like shaking him slightly, and wheels around and goes, "What the fuck are you doing? Get over here and help him!"
I go over and start like trying to help him, but also try and like vaguely rifle through his pockets and see if there's anything on him.
Mr. Armug, what are you doing?
What are the moths doing?
They've kind of fluttered off and dissipated into cracks. And
okay, I'll kind of wander over fairly slowly.
Well, I'll head over. So how does he appear to be injured? What's the...
Well, he's been bitten by something presumably venomous, and his head is cracked open on the side of the sarcophagus.
Well, I'd like to... I guess the question is, did I catch sight of Torval feeding health potions to his dog?
He did say it was while everyone else was looking away. So yeah, but you know who I think might have spotted it. Someone who's unusually perceptive. So Riston and Harmug, it sounds like, are just kind of vaguely watching with slight disinterest as Von bleeds out on the floor.
Well, I'd be trying to help in some way.
Okay.
There's no
while Torville is rummaging through stuff. Torville, a surprisingly strong hand reaches out, twists the material at your throat and yanks you over. You are face to face with Poltroon. Now you're this close, you can see sort of little scars and pockmarks all over his face under the caked makeup. His eyes bloodshot and almost yellow. He leans in really close to you and says, I know what you've got in your pockets. If you don't help him out, I'll have your eyes.
Okay, all right, just put me down, everything's all right. And when he puts me down, I'll try and get my life elixir, which I've only got 1 dose left. I hope you appreciate this. Vaughn. I hope you little boys helping you out. And I pour it down his throat. And I will still try and see if there's anything in his pockets that I can steal.
Sure. Why not? So why don't you give me an agility roll?
Okay. Oh man, that was a fail.
Okay. Yeah, you're kind of padding through his pockets, but just as you think you might find something interesting,
too many pockets.
What seems like maybe a little sandalwood box tucked away in a secret pouch. Von kind of coughs and is sort of blearily. Von, you're still half unconscious and reeling it out and can't really tell.
I wipe the phlegm that he just coughed off of my face.
Sure.
It'll take more than one pass.
Poltroon is kind of like slowly kind of like tipping Von up to a sitting position, going, yes, that's right. More silver to come for good old Poltroon. Why don't you sit up, you stupid shit?
Poltroon!
Master is alive! Brave Master, hardy Master. He's like dancing, leaping in little pirouettes around Von on the floor.
I'll just turn away and say like, I guess I won't need last rites then, and kind of wander back over to the sarcophagus.
So it heals D6 and removes infection, and I rolled a 3 on that. So
that's all your health points back then.
Wow.
Yep.
No, I have no doses. I saved you, Von. They were all just looking elsewhere, but you're loyal and faithful Torval. I gave you my last dose of life elixir. Yes. I hope we are now even.
A story, an epic story for the ages. Master's faithful warrior. He would never do anything to threaten Master and would do anything to help him. He's capering around and comes to a sudden stop behind Von and over the shoulder of Von. He just fixes Torville with a laser stare for a few seconds and then goes back to his capering.
Your service will be remembered once Suglands is dredged from the ocean.
And all those people somehow come back to life to serve you. So,
Did you say there was just one door in this room?
There is one remaining door with a kind of gentle light coming
on
from
the right-hand side. Got it.
Yeah.
I will, having failed to loot Von, I will try and see if there's anything in the corpse's pockets.
Why not give me another roll on the corpse plundering table, another D66.
A D66? All right. I roll... Oh, wait, that's a D6. 66. 64.
64 silver pieces.
Oh my god, I'm so rich.
So rich. You almost have enough that Von already started with.
Wow. I have 175 silver.
Yeah, you're almost there.
So, Von, are you still determined to take these clothes?
Have After Torville rifles through the pockets and all of the moths have dissipated, yes.
Sure. How about you stuff them into your... hand them to Poltroon. He can carry them. He can endure the moth bites, perhaps. Okay, there's this one last door. What are we doing?
As I see Von stripping off this corpse, I look away, embarrassed, and go towards the door.
Okay. Are we opening it?
Yep.
As you open the door, music starts to play. Inside, a relatively well-lit room. A gently smiling man of middle years sits at a stone table, dressed well, but not extravagantly. He has cropped grey hair and laughter lines around his eyes. In one corner, there is a woman wearing a metal helmet resembling a dog, playing a cello, as in she is playing a cello and wearing the helmet. The man kind of half stands up from the table. Strangers, and soon, I hope, friends. It has been many moons since others found the courage to venture into this awful place. Come, break bread with me. I have been condemned to dwell here, but I am a man of means, and there is no reason to go wanting. The table has a modest selection of foods on it. Bread, cheeses, fruit, wine. Wholesome looking.
I am very hungry.
Your belly is still full of... We can see your belly distended from mushrooms. How are you still hungry?
I walk over to the table to get some more food. Oh, thank you, stranger. You're very kind.
Again, thank you, MÖRK BORG, for creating a system where the players don't immediately go, fuck no, fuck no.
Yeah, thank you. You're kind.
He gestures. There's several chairs around the stone table, and he says, "Please sit. I hope the horrors of this place have not harmed you overmuch. The Walking Dead can be such an inconvenience."
I'll go and sit and close my eyes and listen to the music.
I'm very problematic.
Yes, a constant irritation. And as I say, I have to live here. I have no choice, sadly.
Oh, it's such a shame.
Why?
But before he answers, are Von and Riston still kind of stood? Or have you...
I think I'm still stood.
Yes.
That's fair enough.
All the things we've seen in this tomb, this is the weirdest.
Sure. The friendly man shakes his head and says, "Oh, a sorry tale indeed, and of shocking trivialities. I was exiled here by the ignorant townsfolk of Vinther for many minor and petty grievances. Such little things. Such little things."
While the man's telling this story, Harmon has already fallen asleep to the music and is snoring quietly on the chair.
Sure. Anyone who's actually paying attention to what the man is saying can roll Presence 14 with whatever modifiers you have.
In his sleep, Harmug starts muttering about the basilisks. It's just quietly in the corner going,
Fail.
Succeed.
You know the name Vinther. It was a town further west into the Kyrgyz wasteland that was lost to the encroaching cold wastes decades ago.
You've been here some time, then?
Oh, yes. Some time. Please, won't you sit down? Anyone who's not currently sitting down, roll Presence at 18.
Ooh.
Burke sits down.
Yeah.
Sit.
Okay. Yeah, you don't feel, only eat if you want to eat, but still.
If you're not going to have it.
Yeah, he looks pleased and sits down and says, "Yes, it has been quite some time that I've been here, I will admit." He kind of scratches the back of his head, and part of his scalp and his hair comes off with his scratch.
I sort of stop mid cheese. I scarf it into my mouth, and then I'm like, You know, I've actually got a place to be. Funny.
He reaches down to pick up some bread and cheese, and one of his thumbs gently falls off and lands into his bowl.
I look away, embarrassed.
We're looking for a key.
Oh, a key. I seem to remember something like that around, but... Well, this is embarrassing, but now we have broken bread together, perhaps we can consider ourselves to be friends. All friends together in a lonely place. And since we are friends, I thought that perhaps you could each grant me a small favor. A gift, nothing grand, just something small. Such a little thing. Such a little thing. He reaches forwards. The skin and flesh on his face begin to slop off onto the table, and he grasps at Torval with twitchily clutching fingers. You find yourself unable to move. As he touches your face, a fingernail easily slides off against your cheek. Can everyone check either Presence 14 or Toughness 16?
I got 5, so no.
I also fail.
Oh my god, I'm 1 off. I fell.
Did you make a noise when that happened? Presumably you screamed, so I'm awake and would make this check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming I can scream.
Yeah, I'd assume you, rather than a scream, you're still somewhat constrained by whatever this is.
Yeah.
So I think you'd make a kind of...
Yeah.
I wake up
so
to-
Harmer made it, right?
Yeah, I also failed. No, I got a 10, which isn't enough on either of them.
Has anyone got any omens left?
0.
That's amazing. So, let me get my handy die out.
What about Burke? No, Burke doesn't do.
Burke doesn't get
Oh,
omens.
no, you know what? Let's have Burke roll. No, let's have Burke roll. I think that's fine.
No.
No.
You rolled a 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Torval, you feel something being leached out of you. At the back of your mouth, you can feel a couple of your teeth falling out and kind of toppling down your throat. Can we all make the same roll again, please? So either Presence 14 or Toughness 16.
I hit Presence 14.
Okay.
Success.
Fail.
Presence 14.
Fail.
Okay. Von and Torval, you basically have enough presence of mind that you can't move, but you can, if you want, kind of, essentially you can cry out loudly.
Okay, yeah, I'll sort of scream and, oh god, help! And then I'll like spit my teeth back into this guy's face.
Sure. They don't make it because as you scream out, you can move and the room is empty. But for a stone table covered in some kind of unidentifiable rotting slop and with a desiccated corpse sat where the man was. There is a large brass key covered in skull motifs dangling from a half-rotted pocket on his jerkin.
I will reach out, grab it, and pull it off, like tear it away from the skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
I will yawn on my chair and go, I had a really weird dream.
You took 2 health points from that, by the way, Pierre.
Okay.
How much
5.
rotten slop has Torval eaten?
Yeah.
Considerable amount of it.
I probably retch, I guess.
And also quite a lot in this scene.
And quite a lot in the game MÖRK BORG.
Yes.
So wait, is there anyone else in this room apart from... So it's just a stone table, there's the corpse. I'll sort of, like, go to where I thought Harmug was, the equivalent place in this room, and I'll
sorry. It's not empty apart... No, the other players are still there. Sorry.
Okay.
When I said empty apart from that, I meant other than your group. Yeah.
Okay, I'll shake the nearest person to me, I guess Harmug.
The cry. Everyone emerged from their stupor on when you and Von shouted.
Okay.
Yeah. I've just yawned and said I had the weirdest dream while you're retching on the table.
Yeah. Okay.
What's going on in the corner, by the way? Because I'm assuming if I facing that way, I could see the corner behind the guy where the woman was playing the instrument.
She's not
there. There's nothing there at all. Skeleton
nothing there at all. No, and there is no more noise, like music from the cello, obviously, because it's not there.
I look down at the key in my hand. I think this is the key.
You're okay, Torval. You look rough.
That's fair. That's a fair comment.
And if I spot any like insects that come up, I'll re-eat them.
Oh God! I'm just gonna walk away.
Obviously.
Not want not.
So is it? John didn't like that. So it's nice to have someone else gross people out, though. Is it safe to say at this point that while somewhat disturbed by this occurrence, you're going to head? There is no more else in the dungeon now, other than the giant skull with the keyhole in it. So are we returning to that large chamber?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is
Can
there
I
still
just say my
whispering in
least
that?
favorite?
Go on.
My least favorite part about Torval re-eating the bugs he's just vomited up is the implication that he doesn't, despite his huge mouth of teeth, he doesn't chew the bugs when he eats them.
Yeah.
That would spoil the flavour.
He just inhales them.
As we all know, chewing spoils the flavor. So, so you make your way. You trudge back through the dungeon, back towards the giant skull. And I'm just turning my light on. Here we go. And yeah, you are there now, gathered in front of it. Torval holds the brass key.
Is there still whispering from?
Oh yes.
I'll wrap my hand in in something like cloth, I guess, and touch the key, and then try and put it into the lock.
Sure. You insert it in. It turns easily, and as it clicks into place all the way around, 3 of the lower teeth in the jaw shatter with a crack, a very loud crack, into shards and dust, opening up a low space, maybe 5 feet tall or so, that looks to have a long, low passageway with a dim light at the end.
Are there different passageways or just one passageway?
They're 3 separate, long, narrow passageways leading in exactly the same direction.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Do we split up or go down the same one?
Let's all go in the same one, I think.
That sounds safest.
Okay. You have to kind of crouch over a bit depending on your height and make your way through these the shards, the shattered shards of crystal and the crystal dust or quartz dust on the ground. Can everyone have an agility roll at 8, please, in order to avoid getting cut up on this dust and shards?
Oh, I'm rolling terrible today. Fail.
I succeed.
Okay, anyone who failed, take 1 health point, please, as you step on a nastily sharp crystal shard. So you said the entire group is shuffling along down this low, dark corridor with the dim light at the end. When you're about, you'd estimate maybe a third of the way long, the more perceptive among you, and I'll let you guys decide who that is, start to sense a foreboding low octave note kind of vibrating in the entire passageway around you.
I definitely don't notice this for a while.
Yeah, Harmug's muttering to himself and doesn't notice.
Sure. It rises in volume the further you move down this low, dark passageway, and it is a truly maddening sound. Can everyone make a test of either toughness or presence? At 6, please.
Natural 20.
Nice.
Wow.
And something that probably doesn't do anything for you to roll a natural 20 on.
Yep.
God, every fail. Every single fail.
I succeed.
Okay, so was it just Harmug who failed there? Okay, the other three of you, you're not really in the right frame of mind to notice that Harmug has dropped back. Harmug, you're kind of lurking at the back, kind of like almost like in a fetal ball with your arms clutched over your head, this noise just seeming to penetrate and wash through you as your entire body vibrates with it. Torval, you rolled a natural 20 on this, so how about you're way ahead of everyone else. You're just like, oh, this is really annoying. I'm going to go ahead as quickly as possible. So you're quite far ahead. Riston and Vaughn, you've made decent progress, but are still kind of, this maddening noise echoing through your skulls. Can everyone make... would anyone like to make an agility roll to speed up?
I'll give it a go, yeah.
That agility roll is going to be 14, please.
Okay.
And Torval, Riston, and Vaughn can make it. Harmug is still.
I rolled a
clutching brains.
16, so I think that's a success.
Yeah, I failed.
Success.
Okay. Right, to get out of the end of this passageway, Riston and Torval need to make one more check to make it through this horrible noise. Vaughn needs to make 2, and Harmug needs to start moving with 3.
Isn't that the other way around between Vaughn and Riston? John was the one succeeded, not.
Oh, John succeeded. Never mind.
Yeah.
Then. Sorry. So let's see if the ones who can make it through with one roll make it first. So Vaughn, can I get a toughness or presence roll at 8? And
Okay.
Torval, 1 at 6, please.
I get 8 exactly.
15 for me, so success.
Torval and Vaughn move forward. As you do so, this octave note just rises and rises and rises until it's hard to perceive anything but it, as the world is kind of vibrating around you. Both of you spill out of the end of the passageway well ahead of the others. Riston is further back, kind of like edging forwards. Harmug further back, kind of like... It's gone as soon as you emerge from the end of the passageway.
I think as the second the sound goes away, all the sound that's left is Harmug just going.
Yeah, just
I mean, that feels
echoing up this passageway. Yeah,
It continues for like a second or two, and then it just kind of embarrassingly stops.
there's also a kind of like noise from the gorehound. Riston and Harmug, you can kind of slowly crawl your way up out of this passageway now. But I'll describe the room that has greeted the others as they emerge. It's a wide, tall chamber with more whispers above in a lengthening darkness. They are now so close to be audible as to be extremely distracting. And in fact, one of you, let me have a look. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. So I'll finish describing the room. It's lit by gently burning torches, and there is what appears to be a flayed human skin laid out on the floor. The edges of it flutter slightly in the draft from the crack behind you, or coming through from the crack in the chamber behind you through the passageways. A complex sigil appears to have been branded on it. Over on the right-hand wall, there is another stone door. It is ajar and has a gentle light coming out from it. It also has a roughly sawn-off hand nailed to it. Harmug, as you finally crawl out to the passageway and hear the whispers above you from that lengthening darkness, you can't help but shake the feeling that one of them seems familiar. In fact, one of them sounds like someone who loved you long dead.
I think Harmug looks up and goes, What? How? What? And then just kind of clutches like his like silver crucifix like close for a second and just kind of stares up like no, and looks more actually genuinely like emotionally conscious than he has at any point before this for a moment.
Mm-hmm. What are the others doing?
So there's this door with a handle, with a hand severed off, holding the handle.
A sawn-off hand has been nailed to it. It is slightly ajar, and there's a soft light coming out from it.
Is there anything
flayed
else in this?
skin with a sigil on it, kind of fluttering slightly in the breeze on the floor.
Okay. There's nothing else in this room other than that.
No. And the entire room is also lit by torches.
Does the sigil look like any of the other symbols we've been seeing on our journey?
No, not really. You can make a roll to try and recognize it if you want.
Sure. What would it be?
16 for you.
On
presence. Sorry. Yeah.
2. So no.
No. Safe to say no.
Just a fucking sigil, right? Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. And I go towards the door.
Others following him. Is anyone doing anything else in this room?
I'm trying to find exactly where the voice is coming from, but I'm guessing the whispers are kind of all over the place, so it's very difficult.
They are above you, up in the darkness, but very difficult to pin down. The one you recognized is now kind of subsumed into the mass of it, and it's difficult to pick out.
I feel like for a split second, Harmug is going to look at the walls to see if there's any way of climbing up, but then think it's a crazy idea and just
There definitely is not either. They're fairly sheer stone walls. So.
But he just follows the group at the back and looks very solemn instead.
Sure. Von, Riston, anything else in this room? Or are you proceeding with Torval into this? You can feel it's the last chamber. You don't know how, and it's not just because the stream is nearly coming to an end. Like you can feel something ahead of you.
I'm going to follow Torval.
Yeah, I'll glance at the skin, but
okay, sure.
Move on.
You proceed into a very long, narrow, and tall chamber. The length of it goes off to the right of you, and as you turn and look, as I say, long, narrow, and tall, the darkness still above you, the whispers. The walls are completely covered with inscrutable geometric patterns interspersed with torches. There is a long, soft purple carpet edged with gold trim on the floor. It is frayed in patches, but for the most part intact. At the end of the long chamber is a small set of stone steps leading up to a higher level, on which is a simple carved wooden throne. A robed figure in a crown sits on it, difficult to perceive from this distance.
Is he moving?
I will straighten myself up, rearrange what remains of my ruffles, and stride on down the room.
As we
hopefully my coterie effectively following me.
As we walk into this room, I think as you're about to wander off, I just say, why did we even come in this place anyway?
It was for a mask or a face or something.
Mask? Is there a mask on the face of this king?
You can't see closely from this distance. Von, I'd say striding confidently down this room. Royalty, you know how to deal with royalty. This is an audience.
Yes.
Riston, are you doing anything else, or are you following the others?
I'll be following them. Rather more circumspect, I think, but
okay.
Yes, keeping to the edges.
So as you walk down the relatively plush feel of the carpet underneath your feet, an odd sensation after the day you have had, indeed the months and years that you can even remember. Can everyone give me a presence roll, please? The target number is 12. Obviously, add your own modifiers to it. But what I'm looking for basically is the person who succeeds and rolls highest.
Okay.
2. Ooh. Well, 4 is my total roll.
13.
Unnatural 20.
Natural 20.
Unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20. Well, that's definitely Riston then.
Riston, 17.
You are now close enough that you can see the figure a little better. You're fairly sure that it is not wearing a crown. In point of fact, it has the head and horns of a goat. Above it, floating in midair, hovering, suspended, by no means you can see, is a dark granite mask being worn by a severed human head. And above that, just momentarily above that, above its brow, is a flame of no origin that is burning and flickering in the air. The robed figure stands up, and now you all see, after Riston has kind of like come to a stop suddenly, and you all kind of take another look and see this. The robed figure stands and reaches out one hand towards you, kind of completely cloaked by its robe, and seems to make a beckoning gesture to come forward.
I will leave that to Von.
I will slightly less confidently allow myself to be beckoned.
Okay. So who is moving forward and who is remaining where they are, if anyone?
I'm moving forward.
I will move forward a step behind Von, I think.
I'm remaining where I am.
I would move forward a bit, but stay well away from it. So
okay, so mainly it's kind of Riston and Von coming forwards then, or at least Von in the front. As you move forward, you're now at kind of the foot of the steps. A voice comes out from the goat-headed figure. They're not speaking out loud, their mouth is not moving, and the whispers from above reach a crescendo, though they're still unintelligible. The voice very softly says, "The first of 7 mysteries has come to pass. Inevitable events demand their place. My time here is at an end. Free me with the gift of your violence, and the mask shall be yours."
Do we all hear that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start walking away towards the door, backing off.
if I see you back off, I'll be like, well, the mask is what we're looking for.
I pop my short sword out of its scabbard, just like thumbing it loose, and wait for a reaction.
You get a sense of welcomeness.
Draw the sword and thrust.
You take the few steps up the kind of shallow stairs leading up to this higher level, and with one well-trained fencing thrust forward, you pierce the robe. The figure immediately collapses. It collapses into a heap of just and only robes, dried out sticks, and a semi-rotted goat's head impaled on a long crooked branch. The wooden throne cracks apart, and the head with the mask drops into the pile of wooden shards. The whispers stop.
Harmug just goes, "Oh, that was easy."
I'm still backing away.
I poke the head and mask with the end of my sword, slightly too scared to touch it.
Nothing happens.
I will also
the mask slightly grates along the stone floor.
I will also go up to the mask, and I'll tell you what I might do before I touch it. I have no, the mask isn't a being in any way, so it probably wouldn't work. I have no evidence that the mask is any sort of creature, so...
It's a mask.
Yeah.
Well, if no one else is reaching for it, I will...
Yes, Riston.
I will hesitantly pick it up.
Okay, Riston strides forward, bends over, grasps the mask, and picks it up. You can all go now. That's the end of the one shot.
I love our tentative. No, we can't pick it up. Let's pick it up. Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, I was afraid that was going to turn into an absolute chicken in the cage moment of like, oh, how are we going to pick up this thing? And then I was like, right, you picked it up, you can go. Yeah, that was great. Oh, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that.
That's great, yeah.
So, just a quick, I do a quick blurb here, and then we'll do some questions and comments. We're so close to 8 o'clock. We've finished pretty much on time. We will stay for a few more minutes if anyone has questions or comments. So pop them if you want into the chat, and we'll flick them up and we'll answer them for you. But also, I want to address, we had a lovely cheer for 300 bits from Nowatep. Thank you so much. That's really appreciated.
Hey.
We're only little and we don't get bits often. It's exciting. Thank you so much. So, pop your questions and comments in the chat. In the meantime, I'll do a blurb. There's a bunch of links down below. There's links to our YouTube and our Twitch. You're watching them on one. Why not watching this on one? Why not check out the other? Give us a follow, subscribe, etc. There's links to our social media, Twitter, Instagram, and the like. Facebook, you can go check us out on there. There's a link to our Discord. Join that and talk to us about all things Telling Tales, all things roleplay. There's a link to our Patreon. If you love what we do and you want to support us, why not go there? There's lots of lovely stuff in those tiers, like character creation videos. There's access to privileged areas of our Discord. There's even an option for the big spenders for me to run a private session for you and some friends. Who wouldn't want that? I mean, anyone with a squeamish stomach after watching this this one shot of Mork Borg. But other than that, there we go. We run 3 weekly series, Monday through to Wednesday, all at 8 o'clock GMT/BST. Time zones are garbage. And that's Call of Cthulhu on Mondays, which is run by Johnny, and Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition on Tuesdays and Simbaroom on Wednesdays. They're both run by me. Please check those out. We do a one-shot on the first Saturday of every month. This is one of them. We've also done Alien. We've done Troika. I'm sure we'll do something different next month as well. Check those out. And everything is stored in VOD form over on our YouTube. God, that was relatively slick and good. There we go. Bang. Obviously, thank you to everyone for playing. Thank you to you guys for watching. And thank you to the creators of MÖRK BORG as well. It's bloody good. Wonderful stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that's just what this grim, dark fantasy stream needed. And Alan Partridge impression.
Absolutely.
I'm so mad I didn't get to kill Riston. I had such a plan if we ever got in a situation where you were distracted in combat. I was so mad about you commanding me because my whole thing was being egocentric and thinking I was You did that to me. I was so ready to just like smash it back ahead of my flail.
If we return to these characters, maybe we can have that chance.
It's 100%. It's not going away from my mind.
Oh, thank you, Shell. That's a cheer for 100 bits. Thank you, Shell. That's lovely of you. And it was a great session. Really enjoyed that. Thank you so much. We have a big comment from Sammy Rosen. And again, thank you for the follow. Cool show, guys. I'm curious, how do you feel about the player character classes? How easy is it to fill those roles? For example, from a pen and paper beginner perspective. I'll let these guys take that because I don't know.
Well, I would say they don't really feel like classes. Like there was sort of role playing. I mean, the classes were mostly backgrounds, right? Like found deserter, and it maybe gave you a special item or a special ability or something. But other than that, like your weapons and your abilities were completely randomly rolled independent of what your background class was.
Can I just say that oddly you might not be the best person to answer this because the Wretched Royalty actually is the only one that doesn't have any special abilities and stat shifts. The others have like different modifiers on different stats.
Yeah, like I'm weaker on agility.
You basically get 2 special items, whereas the others only get 1. And that's your thing. You had Poltroon and you had the dagger that you never used.
The thing for the Heretical Priest as well, like, my one was because of the random rolls, I didn't play anything like a Heretical Priest, because a Heretical Priest is all about powers, using powers. And as my rolls were set on my character, I got literally no powers, which is why I roleplayed the thinking I could do stuff a bit. But that meant that effectively I didn't have the class as well. I wasn't playing as a Heretical Priest in that sense. But that's cool. That's kind of, it's part of the whole random element of MÖRK BORG, I think. It's really interesting, actually, that your character and your class is defined by the roles more than the powers, I think.
Absolutely. I think like if you played like a longer campaign of it, it would slowly slip into that because like you would get some powers and then you could use powers while you're wearing your medium gear and stuff like that.
The start especially is the random part.
Yeah. Anyone else with any emotions?
Yeah, I mean I like the words fanged deserter just made me go, right, I've got to bite things a lot. I've got to be really obsessed with my teeth. Got to be kind of disturbing, and I've got to probably betray everyone at the first possible opportunity / run away, which is, I think, probably what I'm intending to do when people mess with this mask. But we'll see. Or maybe we won't. Who knows? But I found it quite evocative. I don't know.
Yeah. they're really sort of strong, flavorful beginnings that really help you sort of push in one particular direction. So it's.
And I think I haven't read them yet, but I think I've kickstarted a couple of like the sort of zines supplements, and I think they might also have like extra classes in them.
They do,
So that will add more variety. But I think they're like a lot of modern games. The class is less about like defining the character and more about a framework to use to inspire and build on. You don't have to use classes in this, by the way. You can just build like a flat character, as it were, that just doesn't give you any bonuses or malices. You just roll. I think on average you'd come out worse because you don't get any of like the special abilities and stuff, like the little things. But otherwise, Nyotep, perhaps you could extend into a campaign. All of these one-offs we'd love to extend into campaigns. It's just a question of time and people's availability and stuff like that. I do think that maybe even more than the other couple we've done, I would really be interested in doing follow-ups to this. I really enjoyed Troika as well, but Troika's harder for me. Like I didn't write that Troika story, and it's like coming up with the necessary level of whimsical funniness and stuff like that. It's definitely more difficult for me than something fucking horrible like this.
Whereas this is like your wheelhouse.
hey, it's a Doom Metal RPG, and I am wearing a Doom Metal shirt. This fits my aesthetic. So, we'd love to do more of them. We're thinking about doing a thing with the one-shots where at the very least every 6 months, maybe we have like a vote on our Discord to see on that 6 month, 6th month, which of the one-shots gets like revisited. That we've done over the last 5 months. So maybe we'll do that. We're also looking to implement, and I think this is the first time I'm saying this publicly, we're looking to implement like shorter arcs of stuff between breaks for our ongoing series. For example, Symbaroom, we're on a current short story arc, and I think when we come to the end of that, we might insert like another setting as a little stopgap story. So maybe we could revisit MÖRK BORG when we do that. Or unless, a kindly passing philanthropist billionaire decides to sponsor us so we can all just quit our day jobs and do this every day, then
any billionaires,
then we can definitely do a campaign.
Any billionaires? Go on.
Any
Elon in the chat?
No Bill Gates, no Elon Musk, no. Okay.
No.
So, a very, very good socialist behavior there, begging for money from millionaires.
I mean, we're not picky. We settle for millionaires.
Yeah, exactly. I would absolutely settle for a millionaire. I'm fine with that. So I think that's all the questions and comments. I'd ask for more, but it's late. It's 8:05. We're over time. Last map.
Yes.
Look at
I mean,
that.
it's got
Last
like
map.
2 joins to other locations.
You know what, Sam? That's actually a pretty good job. It's actually pretty close to what I've done. Like the orientation and squashing in different areas.
I mean, bits moved into other bits, but yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Nice one.
I do.
So thank you to everyone for watching again. Thank you to Steve and John and Sam and Pierre for playing this. I think we'll be live next on Monday, right, with Call of Cthulhu, and then we have our usual weeklies this week, and then the week after that, so not this week coming, but the week following, the 12th to the 18th, I'm taking the week off. So for anyone who watches Vampire and Symbaroom, that won't be going ahead that week. Instead, I'm sitting in my living room in my pants watching WrestleMania all week. So that'll be good. We ended on the worst gross out image of all. There we go. So thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great.
GG, everyone. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.